What's going on, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty here. I got Rob on here with me, but trying to work out some issue with the audio. Once we get that straight, we should be able to kick off this podcast. This podcast is pretty much going to be not too long. I was in a serious crunch for time, so it won't be too much that we'll be covering extra aside from, of course, recapping all the games that happened this past week. We did LSU versus Miami already, so we won't be recapping that game. We'll be recapping the rest from after that game. And then we'll be looking at the new top 25 rankings. And then after the new top 25 rankings, we'll look at the week 2 schedule and make our predictions, which games, we're going to be most excited to watch. And after that, we're just going to talk about, as you can see here from the graphic, which players that we felt. I'm going to say we got to pick our top 3 on who we felt has stood out the most in week 1. We'll just say that. And then, of course, the last thing we'll pretty much be covering is how deep do we think this draft class will be. So saw a lot of great talent, saw a lot of great things. So, so that's what we'll be covering here today. Okay, yeah, I got Rob on the end now. Here we are. What's going on, Rob?
What's going on, man?
And we got Rob in the building, man. I thought something was wrong with my headphones. It might have still been, but yeah, so I can hear you now, so that's great, man. I might have to. You said what?
Share your screen.
Okay, yeah. Let me do that. Gotta remember to do that every time. Okay, boom. Screen is shared. All right, so like I was telling them, like I was serious crunch of time for time, so I really didn't have any other extra graphic, but I at least got the main areas. We're not going to be really covering too much after we go through with the schedule and look at the next week's schedule and come up with our predictions. All we're going to do from there is just talk about which players, our top 3 players who we felt stood out, and how deep we think the class is going to be, and then we'll leave it up for open questions. Though that's it. And they're saying, Rob, your audio is low. It does sound low to me. Is you away from your microphone or something?
I was.
Okay, he's here now. He is here. I heard that. So yeah, he must have been away from it, but he is.
Yeah, I was further back.
Yeah, he's up now. So you guys should be able to hear him. Can you guys hear him good? Because I definitely can.
Yo. Making sure I'm good.
Say what's up, fam. That's Jorge. Was good. I still can't hear him.
Still can't hear me. All right, hold on.
No, it's still low, a little far. It's mad low. Okay, so he's adjusting that right now. Yeah, how about this past week, man? This first week of the RFL College Series was incredible to watch. Can you guys hear him now? Is he good?
Hold on, all right, let me know what you guys can hear me now, man.
So is he good now? Can you guys
Let me know if you can hear me. Yo. Too low. It must be on your end, bro. Cause I got this thing.
I still got it at the I don't know why it's having you lower here. I'll raise you up. Hopefully it doesn't blast you. I remember where it was at 11.3, so you should be good.
Still too low. Too low.
Now he shouldn't be low at this point, because I mean, if he's low at this point, then you guys ears is tripping, because he's definitely close to about my level without even yelling. And he says perfect. Okay, better now. All right, yep. So Rob, let's first start off, of course, just looking at recapping week 1 of the RFL. A little bit of a different display here. I didn't have the time to really do the in-depth statistical breakdown, but at least have the final scores from the graphics that were posted up on social media. So we'll first start off with the game that started off with that we started off with after the LSU Miami game, and it was Ohio State taking on Oklahoma. A great game, came down to the wire. But OSU able to pull out the victory again with a 23-17 victory. What's your takeaways and thoughts on this game?
Oh man, that was a pretty good game. This is actually one of the four games that I highlighted. I guess you're not gonna do standout players just yet. You're gonna do that next or something.
Yeah, we'll save that
Yeah,
for
okay. I just want to make sure I
after week
segue.
two.
Yeah, so this is one of the games, one of the four games I had highlighted this week, as far as games that I thought were that stood out from all the other games, and so Ohio State I thought played pretty well away against Oklahoma. I know you don't have the stats there, but I know that was kind of a neck and neck game. Obviously, the score tells you that, but um, Ohio State with 321 total offensive yards versus 246 yards for Oklahoma. It was pretty much a battle for field position back and forth by both of these teams. And what I really thought was kind of unique this week as well is that the time of possession between these two teams was 24 minutes for Ohio State and 23 minutes for Oklahoma. So both of these teams really were fighting. They were pretty much matched on third down as well. And I thought this was just a good old struggle in which Ohio State actually came out and got the victory here.
Yeah, now you can see from the picture, man. This was, I would say, play of the game when I believe that was Carter Patterson who made this one-hand catch, and then not only did he make this catch over the defender as well as break his tackle, he broke many other tackles and carried two other Sooners on his back to the end zone for a touchdown. So it was an exciting game, despite it being a little bit, slow at first, but it was back and forth. They were filling each other out really well. And I guess when you were talking about standout players, did you want to go into depth and talk about Daryl Johnson or maybe like one of
Uh,
those guys or something?
well, yeah. I mean, I understand that guys. Definitely Johnson. I want to definitely highlight him. But uh, my thing was the guy was who was it? Falk? Is it?
Gavin
Is it
Falk,
Gavin Falk?
quarterback.
Yeah, Gavin Falk. Yeah, because all right. So I don't want to blow up. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. All right. So
Yeah. So what
this
what
this
we'll
is gonna
do just before
this
you get into it, what we'll do, we'll just
yeah
you can still talk about who you felt stood out in the game, and we'll just say our
yeah.
top three players that stood out the week. So we'll do that.
Okay, so I chose. I understand that Johnson. Everybody wants Johnson here, but Gavin Falk is a part of my core of guys who won on the road this week, and so I gave him the hats off. He had 130.7 rating. He had two touchdowns. He won on the road. There were only four quarterbacks to win on the road this week, or five, I think. I gotta wait. One, two, three, four. Yeah, five quarterbacks to win on the road this week. And so I gave the play of Gavin Folk. I gave him that. You know what I mean? I thought he stood out. I loved what Johnson did. He was doing his thing. But at the same time, that had to go off to Gavin Folk.
Yeah, good game. I thought it was a good game. Both quarterbacks really went in and really showed what they could possibly bring to the table to the RFL going to the next level. So it was a great game, really contested, as you can see from the score. And yeah, OSU still coming out with the win. So a big win there for the Buckeyes. Next game following that one was a huge game. You called this one on Thursday, and it was just, it still shocked me on how much of a blowout this ended up being. Leo Moon really stepped onto the scene and absolutely destroyed FSU, throwing the most touchdowns in a single game in the first week out of everybody this week. The final score for the Mountaineers over the Seminoles, 48-6. So thoughts on that game?
Oh man, this game, even though this is a blowout for FSU, obviously, this game literally went down to the last second of Leo Moon trying to torch Florida State as much as he could. I think if he had an arson with him, he probably would have tried to burn that whole stadium down to get rid of all the Seminoles out of West Virginia. Man, totally just shocked. I think the nation with the play, and I mean the five total touchdowns obviously was almost going to get six on that last drive of the game, and he just looked so tight. There was nothing wrong with what I saw out of Leo Moon. I want to say he accidentally threw one interception. He just kind of lofted it up in the third quarter, I think, and it was picked, but that didn't phase West Virginia at all. Defense shut it down. Leo Moon just definitely got the job done on all cylinders. Really liked the play around him as well. You're only as good as your team around you. So with that said, yeah, he had the 130 rating, but he had a lot of guys, man. Kennedy McCoy, 130 yards on the ground, man, destroying it. You're looking at the receivers and everything. Mason Dunn getting it done. Babcock getting it done. Well, I'm sorry, Mason and then Babcock was for Florida State, but Olsen, I'm sorry, getting it done for him. Even the guy Nick Webster, man, some clutch touchdowns in the game, man. And I mean, West Virginia just looks so tight, man. Aiden Davis was another one. They just, as a unit, man, they just moved so well on every single drive that I saw, and there was no way for Florida State to really even come back or to even make this a game at all because of the play of not just Leo Moon but his teammates around him, and definitely hats off to the defense.
Excellent breakdown right there. Shout out to Nishan in the chat with the $10 donation. And, yep, definitely got to put the hashtag Moon Pies in the chat because, man, Leo Moon was throwing the Moon Pies out and those receivers were eating. Absolutely torching this FSU secondary. And, he broke it down as best as it possibly could there, highlighting those players. So nothing else extra for me to say on that. I'll actually just leave it for you to talk and just, I think it'll be better to do it that way because I pretty much break it down when I go to the game anyway, and then you cap it off. So we'll just do that. But West Virginia, man, big win right there. Great way to start the season. Can't wait to see what Leo Moon does. Next game of the week, didn't cut off the outsides here. Those are white. My bad for that. But we got Texas A&M. And in the Tennessee game, the first conference game started in week 1 of the RFL college series, and it was a defensive battle the entire way. But Texas A&M was able to score their only touchdown of this game, and were able to win this over in the road as one of those 5 quarterbacks, as you said, were able to win on the road. Final score 16-6.
Yeah, and big shout out to JTA. I'm going to say his name, Jorge Torres Aguilar. Although I have to give this game the worst of the bunch. This is the worst game out of all the games that I saw this week, out of all of them. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, it was a defensive game. I love defense, but this is just, man, just wasn't nowhere near as exciting as the others. JTA gets it done on the road. He was another one of my highlight quarterbacks for this game. Getting it done, going to Tennessee, doing what he had. Wasn't the best performance. I think he was only like 80% or something like that on the day or whatever, or 81 rating or something like that. But they got it done, man. And so you gotta give him that. I really didn't have a whole lot on this other than the hats off for him getting the accolade. It was pretty much middle of the road for both teams. I don't think any receiver had over six receptions on the day. Rushing, I don't remember offhand. I think there may have been a 75-yard back on Tennessee. But other than that, I just the other guy, Luke Poor, he played, but he didn't play well. Yeah. Yeah,
lived up to the name in a bad way. Not trying to throw no shade. I know Luke Poor is used in the community.
I'm just giving it. You guys know me, man. I'm blunt, man. I'll just give it. I love everybody, man. But I give it to you how it is, man. The guy didn't play well. You know what I mean? So, on that note, he ran well. He had 7 rushes, 52 yards. I've got a little pull up right real quick. So he did good on the ground, but it just wasn't enough here to do it at home. They only come away with 6 points, and they let Texas A&M come in here and get the win. So again, man, big shout out to JTA getting it done for Texas A&M. This does get the worst game of the week award.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely was the worst. And we had to call this. I think this was dual commentary game that we called. So, I mean, it was pretty tough. Thank God for the new slider change, because after that, I don't think we're going to be seeing games or mini games like this from here on out, which is a great thing. The next game after this one, we had the premier games, man. The premier games were kind of lit, man, and it was blowout central for a couple teams, and it started out with Auburn absolutely flexing their muscle, as Rob likes to say, over Nebraska at home, absolutely blowing out the Cornhuskers 30-0.
Yeah. This is a good game, man. The good thing about being behind the scenes is you get to stream these games ahead of time. And so this is the first game I actually streamed, man. And it took the life of me not to call up JP, man, my boy JP, who helps me with the mods and everything, man, and tell him what happened, man. I ain't tell him no, you know what I mean? But yeah, when I saw this thing, man, I said, wow, man, Auburn really came to play. Um, I'm not gonna say too much about Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska was prepared at all. I would be worried if I'm on Nebraska right now. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Right now, Auburn, just smacked them in the face. Javon Warren, great day, 24-27 on the week. Ashton Collins, the halfback, had a 105-yard day, so he was doing pretty good. And I have to give a big shout out also too. I kind of messed up the stats on this game and the Tennessee game, man. The little bar, the yellow bar, man, was throwing me off. But Christian Williams actually had 11 receptions on the day, and did his thing, man. So I think he led all receivers if I'm not mistaken. So he had a good game here. But this was just Auburn's day, man. It was just their day. Nebraska showed up and they put on a clinic, man. Auburn put on a clinic for him. And it was just crazy. One thing I will say though, there is a guy on the defense, man, a middle linebacker who had around 20 tackles.
Jeez.
Yeah, he had around 20 tackles. It was crazy, man. So I don't know his name. I had to let the stat guys go in there and get that. I just have my brief notes here, but yeah, he had like 20 tackles. It's crazy.
Well, and that was on Nebraska's side, you said?
Yeah, on Nebraska's side.
Of course.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's a real player or not. But yeah, he had 20 tackles.
Yeah, that's pretty big time right there. And I mean, I guess right. It sounds great, but when you're getting blown out 30-0, I'm guessing your offense wasn't on the field too often. Right. And I'm not even looking at stats here. And I saw the game though, but yeah, that was ugly. Great win for the Tigers. Following this game, the same game, This is one of the 3 games that premiered at the same time at 1 p.m. Eastern. The next game we had was a big upset, man. Washington State looking pretty solid as they were able to upset Florida at home. Final score was 28-20.
Yeah, that was another decent game, I thought. And what kind of really got me as well was the play from Washington. I'm not gonna lie, man. I kind of was just sleeping on Washington a little bit. I didn't think that they really were going to do too much, and honestly, looking at the offensive yards from Florida had put up over 400 yards on them and still lost, and they only put up 270 yards of total offense. Running, they didn't get it done on the ground. They only had 66 total yards rushing, and I mean, when you look at the stats, right, the stats are in favor of Florida. Coming out 14-7 in the first quarter. And then out of nowhere, I thought it was going to be over, man. It was like 17-7 or something like that. And then out of nowhere, Washington State puts up like 14 points in the second quarter, and then comes in the third quarter and shut them out 7-0. And then you're looking at a game, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And they ended up pulling that thing out, man, 28-20. I didn't think that was going to happen to Florida. I thought Florida was still going to be high off the Marquise Washington story, and coming in here and with close to 600 total yards of offense they put up, against 317. Yeah, man, it was crazy. You know what I mean? I think they had took the ball away 4 times too, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. So,
and that's what I was going to say, man. When you were talking about them scoring those 14 points and those points so quickly, those points came off of the turnovers from the quarterback Trevor Campbell through big-time interceptions. If I'm not mistaken, I think 2 of them went back to the house for a touchdown. I know for a fact one of them did. And so those interceptions, I think, is what really cost Florida this game here on the road against the Wildcats. But that's a big win right there still for the Washington State Wildcats anyway, because I still think they performed as best as they could against a team that, a lot of people felt Florida should have blown out. But it was a great contested battle and big win right there for Washington State.
And this is something that's crazy too, man. The possession of time for Florida with 29 minutes, close to 30 minutes of possession time. And Washington State only had 18 minutes of possession time.
Wow. That says a lot, man. It's crazy, man. And that's a big win right there. Oh, yeah. All in favor of Florida, and he's still able to persevere and get that dub. Got to see. That's what we love to see here on these games, man. Next game, we had a huge game, a big-time showing by Notre Dame, especially their running back, Kyle Fenimore. He ran for over 200 yards in this game. I'm pretty sure he led all running backs this week in rushing yards in a single game. Absolutely handed it to Iowa. Final score was 33-13.
Oh yeah, Notre Dame just came out and came out swinging. Um, big shout out to Fenimore. Uh, hey, solid day on the ground. Did have one of those, was a 95-yarder. But if you do the math there, or 98-yarder, if you do the math there, though, it's still over 140 yards on the ground.
Yep.
24 carries, 24 attempts, a touchdown. So, I mean, the guy was doing his thing, man. He's a beast, you know what I mean? So hats off to number 33, man. They win by 33, which is crazy. But
Coincidence.
yeah. But yeah, he definitely was a huge part of why they were just destroying why they destroyed Iowa. And I don't think Iowa really had a chance, man. They were doing a lot of dink and dunk stuff. I mean, they had two receivers that had over 16 yards, 16 receptions between the two, and they only had close to like 75 yards of offense, right? Of yards. So and no touchdown. So that shows you right there that these guys, basically, were dinking and dunking. And then what's crazy about that though is that like the dude Cleon Markman, he had 8 receptions, 36 yards, but he had 34 yards of run after catch, right? So it just showed you that it was just a dink and dunk type offense, man. Dropping, doing screens and everything, and just getting shut down. So yeah, they did manage to put up 14 points. I think one of those is going to be a defensive touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, though, man, yeah, this was just Notre Dame's day, man.
Yeah, this is another game that, kind of fell in that category for the previous sliders, which is why I think, man, from here on out with these sliders, man, even though week 1 we saw some great games, I think, week 2 is still going to be pretty much like week 1. You don't know what you're going to get out of these teams for this second week. Man, I already know some of you guys are going to be a little bit salty about how these top 25 rankings after these recaps are going to be looking. But it is what it is, and we'll be making that announcement after these games. But the final 1 p.m. game after this one was a blowout, man. Oh, this wasn't a 1 p.m. game. I don't know why this is placed ahead. I think that one should have been placed earlier. But nevertheless, let's just go ahead and cover it. Utah absolutely got shut out by Wisconsin, and Wisconsin from last season already won half the amount of games that they did just a year ago. So, I mean, it's a great start for the Badgers, 48-0. Thoughts on this one?
Oh, man, it was just the Malcolm Love show, man. I mean, Malcolm Love just, came in there and that's the quarterback, obviously, and just, did his thing, man. I give Bill a lot of flack, man, for Wisconsin, man, you know what I mean? So he's talking about Wisconsin, and I'm just talking about how bad the Badgers are, man. But they look good this week against Utah. You know what I mean? So I got to give him the love there, man. Malcolm Love, he did his thing, and it was just it was just all Wisconsin, man. I didn't have any really standout moments other than the Love thing here. Looking at the rushing yards though, Joe Duncan, 140 yards on the ground, destroying it, obviously there. Wisconsin was able to limit the rushing attack of Utah, though, to only 40 yards for Williams. And then looking at the wide receivers, though, this is kind of interesting, though, right? So, wait a second. Did I mess this up? No, I didn't mess it up. So Duncan also had 7 catches, though. So he actually tied with the top. He actually led most of the receivers and tied with Julius Castillo, right? With 7 receptions there. So him and Castillo just doing a number on him. And it was just pretty much just utility back all day. Castillo, then they mixed in Ferguson and blew in there a little bit, man. So, yeah, just a great day for Wisconsin, man. Great day.
Yep, not too much to harp extra off of that one. Just spanking town. That's all that was.
Yeah,
That's all you could say about
much.
that one. Absolutely destroyed. I don't know how you say. Is it the Utes? How do you say Utah? What is their mascot name?
The Utes. It's the Utes.
Utes.
Yeah,
Utes.
Yeah, the Utes.
Okay. Hopefully I don't get attacked by people who find that offensive. But we'll move on to the next game, and we had this one was actually before that Utah and Washington game, but no, Wisconsin game, but we'll pass it. This was a great game, to be honest, for the most part, as Washington went to Michigan, and a high-scoring game here despite the sliders, and Michigan able to pull off with a pretty big deficit here, winning by 22. Final score was 45-23.
Yeah, Michigan looked really, really good as well. Doubled the total offensive yards. Had over 490 total yards, period. They looked okay on third down. They were 5 of 9. Obviously didn't have to have any fourth downs going on. Really good red zone though. 6 of 6. I think they're the only team to be 6 of 6 this week in the red zone. So when this team gets down there, man, they're scoring. So did a great job. I thought Corey Poley did a good job. He was 113 rating, 25 of 28. So 2 touchdowns. He had 1 interception here, but I mean it didn't really matter. He was just on his day for the most part. And you're looking at the running back, the guy Drake Sandstrom, 22 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns on the day. So the run game was just powering through. And they just pretty much flourished at home, man. I mean, might be the sliders, might not. We'll know next week when they play. But still, just a great. I thought it was a great game. I was expecting a little bit more out of Darius Hodge. He was held to only 58 yards, but he also was splitting backs with 2 other guys. It looks like Dansby, Eubanks, and actually Sandstrom as well. So, he's splitting the offense. I'm sorry. But I mean, he did okay. Averaging 11.6 averages, and everything on the day. So I mean, it's not bad. It wasn't a bad day for him. But I kind of thought maybe okay, well they'll probably go to him more. It seems like he's going to be the number 1 guy at the receiving core. But other than that, though, man, it was just a solid day. I guess when you have a lot of players around, the quarterbacks who are pocket in the pocket, they're gonna spread the ball out, man. So we got to watch for that because we know that last year we saw players on teams where they weren't getting targeted, the ball and everything. So maybe Darius Hodge will be more of the offense hopefully next week, I would say. But he definitely they definitely were spreading the ball out amongst their halfbacks and wide receivers, obviously. But yeah, man, just a solid day from Michigan, man, and not much I can really say about that. They got it done at home against Washington.
Yeah, I really like the play of both quarterbacks. Romanelli for Washington, he played pretty good for the most part of the game. Towards the end, kind of struggled a bit, but Corey Polly, he started out, he threw that 1 interception and went all the way to the house for a touchdown and a long pick 6. But after that, he really turned it around. And of course, Drake Sandstrom, the running back, with those 3 touchdowns, he was going in and broke tackles. Looked like he maneuvered through the hole very well. Great vision on him, and I think he's going to definitely be possibly a back to look out for. See if he can stay consistent with that as the weeks continue. Mm-hmm. Next game we had, don't know why that showed up. Okay, nothing there. And the next game was actually before this game too, is Minnesota and Oklahoma State, who played each other. Oklahoma State coming out with a pretty sizable victory by 22 as well. Final score 32-10.
Yeah, this is one of those teams. Well, actually, I don't think either one of these teams were in the series last year.
Mm-mm.
Really? Yeah. So this was something that I thought was unique. I actually watched this game for the most part. OSU, man, I don't want to get to talking too much because I don't want to measure them against Minnesota right now. Mm-hmm. But they looked amazing, man. They looked really, really amazing. Over 200 yards on the ground, over 400 yards I have here highlighted. Of total offense, they looked really, really good, man. They've got some ballers as well, man. They were also 100% in the red zone with 4 of 4. The guy, obviously, Connor McCain was the talk of the town. Had a great day, 2 touchdowns, 189 yards, 23 of 27, and so he balled out and held on to to the game with his team. The halfback, though, didn't miss, 148 yards on the ground. Great day for Thomas, man. I thought that he ran very, very well, and just overall just kept that engine going. McCain showing signs that he wants to be a scrambling quarterback. 78 yards on the ground as well. So yeah, man, solid performance by them as well. I think that was who I told you. I think I told you the other day, man. This guy Diaz. I think he's a generic, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he might be an actual prospect, if I'm not mistaken. He's one of those.
Diaz, man, this guy Diaz, he was making some gravy plays, man. Like I was shocked at some of the plays he was making. And so yeah, you want to go back and check that. I think I don't know. I gotta check and see if he's a user or if he's a generic, man, because I think I was like shocked I was like, whoa, who is this dude? You know what I mean? But he made some spectacular catches, man. So just having a great day there. They look kind of fierce a little bit, a little
Oh,
feisty.
you're talking
Um,
about Diaz, and he was a tight end, right? I thought you were talking about defense. I was thinking about somebody else. Yeah, that's a
oh,
generic.
yeah, that's a jack. Yeah,
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 he was eating.
yeah. He's looking a little feisty, man. So I don't want to measure them because I can't really say much about Minnesota right now. But OSU looks good, and that's somebody you want to look out for.
Yeah, big time win right there uh, for OSU. Next game, man, this was the big shock that closed out the day. Man, a lot of people were hyped for this Texas versus UCLA game. Both of these teams look really great in the scrimmage games, but as soon as it came to the action in the Rose Bowl, UCLA showed them who was boss and why they feel they should have been the higher ranked team, absolutely destroying Texas. They didn't even score a single point at all. Final score 52-0.
Yeah, man. There's not much I can say when your team only puts up 118 of total offense and you only get 3 yards of rushing.
Yeesh.
Blowout, barn burner. so, yeah, the 115 of that's just crazy. So it's passing. So yeah, this is the 20 first downs for UCLA, the 5 first downs for Texas. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the good stuff that UCLA did. Let's just talk about the bad stuff that Texas did, man. I mean, looking at this right here, this is bad when you have more kick return yards than you have of total offense.
Jeez.
241 total yards.
I know Coach Baker
all
don't
their
like
yards.
hearing this, but
Yeah, right.
tough one.
Four turnovers. Let me look at this here. Yeah, time of possession. They only had the ball 18 minutes. No, zero production in 18 minutes, man. Not getting it
Jeez.
done. Not getting it done at all. And it was just a bad day, really bad day. Shout out to UCLA. Poor Casares just had a terrible day. 3 interceptions. Jace Worth, 129.6 rating, did a great job. Able to pull this up here. Yeah, Matthew Holloman, man. I got to go ahead and say his name. Great community member, RFL backer right there. Yo, 16 rushes, 130 yards, getting it done. 3 touchdowns. Unstoppable. Unstoppable, man. So they just ran straight through Texas, man. Wasn't expecting that. Was expecting Texas to be a little bit better here, I thought. And man, it just, they do have this guy Nowakowski, man, but I don't want this Nowakowski guy to be another Reggie Streeter. You remember Reggie Streeter last year, man? He was kind of like the Lone Ranger on Texas a little bit. And I'm kind of getting a sign that, Nowakowski's going to be that guy, man. He's going to put up his numbers all day, but the team is just not going to be as good. They do have Gossett Jr. Is it Ken Gossett? Yeah, Ken Gossett over there. He had 3 receptions for Texas, but they just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done, and the quarterback play was just not good. So you gotta question who's who and what's what. That's all I'm gonna say. It's kind of interesting though, because I think Isaiah King, is this Isaiah King here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the chat talking about we can't have a top 32 because some teams play bad schools. Well, bad school. He plays for UCLA, so what's he talking about anyway, man? Only guys inside the Discord will understand that one right there who may have seen that conversation. But yeah, shout out to UCLA, man, getting it done.
So I guess I might as well ask you: do you think it was more so this Texas just not being as good as people thought, or was it just the fact that UCLA's defense, from your opinion of watching the game, was just probably that good, especially with the amount of turnovers that they forced? With interceptions and pick sixes going to the house. I mean, these guys were all over the place. You can see from the picture right here, Juice Adams even had a crazy pick six. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, honestly, when you look at it, the more aggressive defense was Texas. I think UCLA, they got Willie Nelly out there, Simeon's out there, all these guys. I think UCLA's defense was solid. I just think that what destroyed Texas was the quarterback play, and I think that I'm not going to say UCLA has a top defense. I don't believe that right now, because I don't think that Texas has the caliber offense that other teams do. But I think that at the end of the day, though, Texas has a serious problem, here on offense. They got to figure that one out, man, because UCLA came, and I'm not going to say that that UCLA doesn't have a top offense as well, or whatever, but I think that UCLA's offense, is not, maybe you don't want to use words like not as good, not up to standard and everything. But when we're looking at like impacts of other teams, man, and players and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
They UCLA they're slept on, but I think that they're not I don't think they're the top tier right now, and that's just my opinion right now. But we that could change over the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't think UCLA's defense is just like out of this world and they just shut Texas down. I think the issue here is that Texas just never got the engine started. They showed up and cut the engine off.
Didn't get them Longhorns running out there on the field,
Right.
huh? Yeah,
Right.
so that just got shut down. Great job by UCLA. Big time win. Next game, we went to our primetime games again after the premieres, and Alabama took on USC in what was I thought it was going to be a 6-9 or 6-3 game at first, but Alabama was able to score the lone touchdown late in the fourth quarter, and then they also got a pick six to close out the game, defeating the Trojans 20-9. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man. This is another one of my guys here, man. I had to say hats off to Jacob McCall. Not the most impressive Alabama win I've ever seen before. I'm gonna call it. You know what I mean? So I'm a Roll Tide fan, but it wasn't impressive. They got it done. Jacob McCall got it done. But it's 20-9. It was kind of I guess you could kind of say a struggle. This might be the second worst game, I would say. I call it, guys. I'm Roll Tide all day. This is probably the second worst game of the week. I didn't think that it lived up to the hype that I thought it would. I was expecting Alabama with the generics and stuff to come out and crush. But one thing I will say though is that the defense only gave up 9 points. And this Alabama defense, though, you don't know that yet because they played USC. Shots fired, but when you see them, I think when you see them against higher caliber offenses, it's going to make more sense. I don't think anybody's going to beat Alabama by more than a touchdown or two this season. And I think that the games are going to be slow and grinded out like this. So that's going to be. I'm going to call that right there, that no one's going to blow out Alabama. But I think that Alabama is not going to be as impressive on offense as some of the other teams, this season. So I think defense carries Alabama this year. USC, I got to see some more, man. It's only week 1. I got to see some more. They only put up 9 points. But again, this is a solid defense here on Alabama.
My thoughts for some more questions to ask you for this game. I mean, it's Alabama. I kind of figured coming into this game, this was going to be a defensive game. I kind of had the feeling right before this game. I said, I don't feel that no matter what we do with the sliders or anything, looking at these defenses, they are just too good, and no one's really going to be able to move the ball. And that, of course, from that point did prove truth. It makes you wonder, man. With the sliders now being changed to what they are, do you feel that, what do you think about from that statement you just previously made about Alabama's offense? Because I feel like their offense could probably make some plays, but now that things are open up, do you think that they'll be a factor with that?
Well, this is the thing with the new sliders now. Everything is a back and forth. It feels like, and now teams have to separate themselves. So I think that hurts teams that don't have great defenses and helps teams that do have great defenses. Mm-hmm. And I think that Alabama's defense is gonna carry here because I think that now with the bigger plays they're gonna have. And now you're going to actually see the strength of individual players on Alabama's defense. I think that this actually might enhance Alabama. As a matter of fact, now that I think of it, it might actually enhance Alabama's offense now because McCall didn't look bad at all. He didn't look bad at all. And this another thing too is this guy Najee Harris. Najee Harris is a monster. You wouldn't be able to tell that though, because of his poor day here, but. It's possible that now with the sliders, because look at what Cody Carter was doing and all them guys, man. The sliders so I can imagine what Najee Harris is going to do now. I know Najee Harris is a solid running back for Alabama, real life, So I mean, we'll see, what happens here, but hey, and that guy, hey, I forgot, I'm tripping,
Pavo,
man. Pavo,
he's on
man.
the picture.
Yeah, what am I talking about? Pavo was just, Pavo is the real deal. If you don't know about Pavo Frederick, you need to go back and watch that Alabama game, man. Pablo is the real deal, and so is Forrestal. But I'm gonna go ahead and also jump on USC for a second, man. I really liked what I saw out of Dorian Cope as well. Mm-hmm. I thought Dorian Cope played pretty good as well. But man, back to Pavo, man. Look, Pavlo Frederick, man, was holding it down, guys. I'm telling you, this
Eaton.
guy, yes. So go back and watch that, man.
Yeah, he had some incredible catches, and McCall had one for the only touchdown in the game. That was a beautiful pass, dropped right in the bucket, right over the head of the defender, where Frederick was able to make a nice catch and get in the end zone for the touchdown. But man, those two together, I think they're going to look really good to make their cases for the RFL.
I see Darius saying I'm still bashing Bama. Hey, look, you guys know I'm one of the biggest Bama fans, man. But I don't want people to think that he's biased, you know what I mean, or whatever. Because I'll tell it like it is, man. If Bama's out here tripping, I'm gonna tell you, Bama was some garbage today, man. You know, so I just want to call it like it is, man. So that's all. But no shades of Bama, man. I love Bama. I'm a huge fan of Alabama, man. Real talk.
Next game we had Oregon taking on Penn State. And you called both of these games that day. I had to step away. So once again, got to give you a public shout out. Man, shout out to that boy, Rob, man. Hold me down. Did a great job calling those games. But this was another great game. I think this was when I first told you about the sliders, about changing them up a little bit. And you can already tell the difference from the score. As Oregon almost was able to get back and square off with Penn State, but Penn State, those Nittany Lions, were able to get it done at home. Final score 27-24. Another one of your favorite teams winning here this week.
Yeah, Penn State was kind of. I was branded with being a Penn State fan when I was younger because of my grandparents. Huge. Both of them actually went to Penn State. Wanted me to go, but that didn't happen. But it's just in my family, and so I've always been an Alabama fan, man, through and through. But Penn State was kind of branded on me, as at a young age, and so I've followed that school for a long time, and I really liked them. I like this guy. Ramos, man. Ramos, he played well. I thought that the better quarterback of the day was Owen Jack, unfortunately. I thought that Owen Jack really looked good, man, and he had the better stats. And he was just clawing and scraping, man. But Penn State, man, something about Penn State that day, they just looked good. And Ramos wasn't really. Both of them actually had interceptions, but Ramos just, he didn't seem to be making as many mistakes as Owen Jack, or I guess, but it just kind of. Well, actually, no, that's not true, man. I don't know how to explain it, man. It just felt like Owen Jack was out here battling, and it felt like it was easy for Ramos for the most part. But it was something that was going on with Oregon, man, that never allowed Owen Jack to really break out and get this game ahead and everything. And so, I mean, the hat is going to go off, obviously to Penn State. And you can say it every single time, man. Anytime you have a solid rushing attack, it's going to be hard for a team to really get into the game. And I think that, the underlining story here was that VV, I'm gonna call him VV, Vincent Valentine, man, 137 yards on the ground. And he just was, grinding away, 5 yards here, 5 yards there, 5 yards here, 5 yards there, left, right, up the middle, however you want it, and he pretty much kept Penn State moving the ball, and it made it very easy for Ramos to complete passes, down the line late in the game, and they just, they did a good job, man, of just kind of like, it's kind of like a little kid, or it's kind of like a big kid holding up, some candy over a little kid, you know what I mean? And they just kind of bullied him a little bit with the run game there. And obviously the passing game, Dotson was just doing his thing, and so it was just a kind of like a bully in the schoolyard a little bit. But Oregon, they weren't no pushover, man. They weren't a pushover. They fought back, but they just couldn't get it done, man. Even though I felt that Owen Jack, or he wants me to call him OJ.
OJ.
He wants me to call him OJ. I felt that they just couldn't for some reason, man, pull away, and so that's what happened.
Yeah, very, very good, close, tight game, and especially I believe after this game, just about every single game was just a possession away. And following this game, we had the battle when I came back to announce this one, the Michigan State Spartans holding the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and this one almost came down to a wire. These last couple of games, though, man, really got screwed over towards the end with that Madden mess. But at the end of the day, It was a great game. Michigan State able to get the win. This was one of the worst teams last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's a big win for them over Mississippi State, a team that did get to play in a bowl game in last year's college series. But they still fought, and Trip Baker, was trying to get things going, and unfortunately took those sacks towards the end of the game. But Michigan State holding on. The quarterback looked great. Final score 27-25.
Yeah, this game here is just these two teams are looking to pass on you. Neither one of these teams had over 70 yards rushing, 47 rushing yards for Mississippi State, only 66 rushing yards for Michigan State. And both of their offenses were neck and neck, only about 15 yards apart as far as total offense. Passing yards, they were only like 6 yards with 394 for Michigan State and 399 for Mississippi State. Neck and neck with first downs, 20 first downs for Mississippi and 15 for Michigan. And so these teams here, beware. They're looking to pass on you, pass first, run second. And so I think that we have to see more as the day goes. Both of these quarterbacks over 100 QBR ratings, 115 for Trip Baker, 155.7 for Vaughn. Both of them had, Vaughn had 3 touchdowns and Baker had 2 touchdowns. Like I say, both of these players, man, they're lining up in the gun. They're ready to pass on you. So this is going to be interesting seeing how, the AI is going to use these guys here. Looks like this is another one of the games that I wasn't able to get. I gotta watch that bar at the bottom, man, when you're scrolling over to get the stats and everything. But so I'm not gonna go off the deep end here. There was a 12 reception day by a Farad Green. I'm not sure if he's a real player or not, though.
No, he's not.
Okay, so yeah, he had 12 receptions, so he was looking pretty good there, pretty spectacular there. Interesting enough, Michigan State only had a receiver that had 5 receptions, and then it goes down from there. Let me go back to the rushing and look at this real quick. And the rush, only 59 yards here. So Michigan just, using the defense obviously to get it done. And Mississippi State, hung around, both of them hanging around, and so like I say, we got to see more from these two teams here. But I don't really have a solid analysis on either one of these teams right now, man. Definitely got to see more.
Yeah, for Michigan State, from calling this one, my observations is Michigan State, I think their offense, they look pretty solid. The pass game was definitely there. They were striking. The run game was actually pretty decent. And I said at the end of the game, despite the low yards per carry, I believe Elijah Collins had and I don't even have the stats on me, but I just remember off the top of my head, I think he had 3.2 yards per carry. And he was just under 60 yards, but he was killing it before he started getting more carries for pretty much in those situations just to get the short amount of yards to continue to move the chains. So I honestly feel like the offense of Michigan State actually looked very solid in this game. Interested to see what they do against a better team, I would like to say. For Mississippi State, biggest problem with them is the run game. I mean, there was absolutely nowhere to go for Johnny Louisville's. See him in the chat, man. I know he was frustrated about how his day went. Every time he touched the football, the minute he got it, he was getting blasted helmet to helmet. I mean, he literally had no opportunity, no chance to do anything. And I did see, maybe it was probably 1 to 2 run plays that he had where he didn't hit the hole correctly. So it was just a rough day for the run game, period. And when you don't got that running game going, as we were already talking about, you really can't get your offense going like how you really want to. I mean, that opens up everything. The run game is essentially everything for your team. So that shut down, you're going to have some problems. So Mississippi State, they're going to have to figure something out about that. But I do feel like the Spartans might be a bit of a different team than last year. Not going to say very different. This was, a game that I would still say was winnable. They were ranked. Mississippi State wasn't ranked. So, I mean, let's remember that coming into this one. I believe Michigan State was ranked 21 coming into this. So, I felt they were going to have good talent. Mississippi State, though, had to try to prove. Didn't do too bad. Like I said, though, the biggest thing that held them back was that run game.
Right.
So, second to last game, we had the big one, man. This 2 games, man, that capped off the end. But this is the second to last game that had everybody amped up, especially with these new sliders. Baylor and Ole Miss. No one expected Ole Miss to even put up this kind of fight, especially with the low amount of submitted prospect that they had commit to be a Rebel. And somehow the Bears still were able to get the victory, but man, Ole Miss surely fought the entire way till the final minutes of the game. But the Baylor Bears gets it done 42-35.
Yeah, man. I got a lot to say about this one, man. So I might be a little long-winded here. First of all, Tyler Moe is going to be one of my third player of this week, standout player, getting it done on the road, man. This guy is a maniac. This guy is a maniac, man, because Ole Miss and Quijada was doing these guys, man. He was. I had to just say it, man. Quijada was doing his thing against these guys, and Quijada looked perfect, like perfect day for a quarterback. But Tyler Moe, man, it doesn't matter how many times he was down. This is a back and forth game. They started off 14-0. Ole Miss came back, sparked it up a little bit more. Crazy fourth quarter, coming down the wire and everything. Ole Miss looked really, really good with limited. And I said this in the Discord, man. I said that there's teams that don't have a lot of players that are playing really hard, and these are the teams to watch out for. Ole Miss is definitely a team to watch out for. Is it just three? It's three prospects. Sincere Brown?
You had Sincere Brown, David Quijada, and I think the receiver Penn Majors. Yep.
Yeah, Penn Majors. Another guy. Not to skip over Sincere Brown. Sincere Brown only had 93 yards, but he had 93 hard-fought yards, man, doing his thing. But as far as the receiving goes, man, Mingo.
Yeah. Catches a year of the week, just about.
Mingo is the curl king, and I'm sorry he's not. I'm sorry he's the curl route king, curl route shorty, whatever you want to call him. He was curling Baylor up, and they couldn't stop it. So if you're out there and you want to hear how to beat the Baylor's DBs, run the curl route. Mingo was crushing them. Eight receptions, 118 yards, doing his thing. With that said, Penn Majors on the other side was doing his thing as well. 5 receptions, had some remarkable catches as well. But jumping back over to Baylor, Baylor's defense, man, is kind of scary. And I want to see what it's going to be like with them going forward. I went ahead and deemed them the bad news Bears. And I was just talking about the linebackers, but I realized that I can't just label the bad news Bears for 2 guys when they've got all these guys on that. So I apologize to the rest of Baylor who maybe felt snubbed by their defensive performance, because there's guys on the defensive line with Forbes and those guys out there, and there's other linebackers. I mean, they have a solid complete Barry Hill. These guys, I mean, they have a solid defense all around, and so we're going to go ahead and label the entire defense the bad news Bears B&B. It is highly powered by Jacob Reed and John Fowler. Both of those guys shooting the gaps. Both of those guys all over the field, causing havoc. Anytime I saw them, it's one or the other, 42-43, 42-43. I almost think they did this on purpose, because Cody Carter on the offense is 40. So maybe it's some kind of code or something they have going on here that they're trying to tell us, man. But it's something about these players with the number 40 and above, man. They're just balling all together, man, doing a great job. Really like these linebackers. Hopefully they can keep going. I'm trying to remember the defensive linemen, man. There's 2 of them, right? There's Forbes on the line, I think. And there's another guy on the line as well.
Yeah, they got Kendrick Woodson.
Yeah, Woodson, man. This team here, their defense is top notch, top tier defense, and I think that this defense is going to be able to bang with anybody, in this series here. I was a little worried with the secondary, with the curl routes, man, because the curl routes were just destroying them, and I think that, I think that I can't remember who it was, man. Is this the team with Samaj Jarrett on there?
Yeah, Samaj Jarrett. I seen Joseph Settle getting beat on the route as well.
Right. So this is for Stubbs, Settle, and Jarrett. One of y'all needs to tighten up, man, because other than that, this defense was just destroying them, was stopping them. But it's something with those routes in the flats, man, that they got to get that under control, because that might be the demise of this team, passing on them, Go ahead.
One thing I will say about that, though, is still was working on tweaking the sliders. What I will say is that I realized that for the coverage, I've toned that down a little bit too low, because what happened was the base game had the coverage way more tighter than it usually was, which is why we saw so many pick sixes and everything for the premier games and the games before the slider changes. So I feel like those defensive backs were more so beat because of that slider change not being adjusted and tuned correctly, but of course didn't have too much time to get that right. So if that does prove to be the case, and they actually play better and they don't get beat like that on those routes, then like you said, Baylor, that might be one of the scariest defenses in this college series.
Definitely, man.
And so we moved on to the primetime game of the week, and boy, did it live up to the hype. Final score, another game won by just a touchdown. The Georgia Bulldogs able to take the #1 spot away from the Clemson Tigers, who won it all last year. Final score 38-31.
Yeah, this is just a great game in the making, man. I'm trying to hype it because of the quarterback Brandon Fecky. Fecky showed me last night that he wants to be a leader. Man, just a stupendous performance by this guy, a real gutsy performance. And I'm gonna tell you, he wasn't scrambling the whole game. Yeah. It was getting to the point where Clemson wasn't doing anything, and there was just one play that started it all, man. It was like a third down, I think, and he just took it and got the first down for his team, and from there, lights out. This guy went on a springboard for his team. He went out, he put his neck out there for his team, and that's the play that he's gonna need to keep Clemson in the conversation. Unfortunately, he ran into Georgia and Kai Cash, man. Kai Cash money at home. And so Kai Cash, is my opinion, is probably, if not the smartest, one of the smartest quarterbacks in the nation right now. And he plays very efficiently, like a true senior. And he just, it's just something about Kai Cash, man, and that doesn't, I'm not saying that to overshadow the rest of Georgia, because they have a lot of players, man, but what I'm saying though is that, you need a quarterback to win. And that's obvious and apparent, but without that, you're going to have issues. And so, I think that, with looking at Georgia and looking at how they're constructed, looking at, the play from, Marlon Marshall, from Clemson versus Perkins, right? Marshall had 180 yards, and then Perkins had 112 yards. You see, you're like, man, Clemson had the better running day. What's going on? Looking at comparing the two quarterbacks, comparing, the play from Cash and Fecky. Cash had just a little bit more yards than Fecky did. But the completion ratings were just about the same. They played about the same, but it's just that there's something about, I think about Georgia that, they're no pushover, and I like, hats off to Melton, and even Barnes on Clemson. He had 6 receptions. There's a guy I think I saw, Chalk, as well, for Clemson.
Yeah, tight end.
And I'm going back and forth between these two teams, because I think that both of these two teams, as the score shows it, both of these two teams are pretty much even. But I think that the edge went to Kai Cash because he's at home, and I think that he just, there were moments, I think that for the whole game, Kai Cash was doing what he had to do. And I think that it took a second for Brandon Fecky to snap into the game, because this might have gotten out of hand, the way it was looking for Clemson earlier on, man. But Fecky, he stuck around, used his legs, obviously, and did a great job, and so I think that now I can kind of breathe off him a little bit. I want to see. I'm not sure who they play next week.
We'll get a look at that.
But I want to see how he's going to do under pressure, because I think that Georgia is definitely in the top 5 schools in the nation.
Yeah. So overall, just, man, this was a great game, man. It was Clemson actually started out with the action first. 50-yard touchdown run by Marlon Marshall. He looked incredible running the football. He showed the total package. I really think that both of these running backs put in the work and put the whole RFL scouts on notice with these two running backs, because I mean, they don't just look like they are just a particular style of running back. They look like they are both balanced. You got two running backs with good size on them. Of course, we already know that Cam Perkins, he needs to get a little bit more weight, but he's still a good size. He still has great playmaking ability, able to make guys miss. We've seen him pull off some nasty juke moves, and on top of that, show off his world-class speed to take it to the house afterwards without getting touched for a touchdown. And so, these two running backs were going through it. You could see the little differences, although that Marlon Marshall was a balanced back. Marlon Marshall, he showed that ability to just run through guys. But not only that, he can juke you. He can do whatever he wants, pretty much looking like if I would have to say like Le'Veon Bell in his Steelers days, just absolutely able to pull off anything in his arsenal. And it was the same with Perkins. So I was very impressed with the running backs, more so within this game. The receivers, I was very impressed as well. You talked about Brock Melton. Brock Melton didn't show up until the fourth quarter, but boy, did he show up big time. He came up with that one incredible one-hand catch that really set the tone. And like you was talking about with Kai Cash, man, he was throwing bombs, had the game-winning touchdown to Blaylock down the sideline on a deep streak, beating submitted prospect Ali Melendez over the top. And it was just a great back-and-forth game that definitely proved to be worthy of what could have been a national championship game. And that's pretty much what it was between, at the time, number 1 and number 2 ranked team. And so this was a great game, lived up to the hype. I can't wait for week 2, but that is going to do it right there for our recap of week 1. Before we get a look at week 2 of the series, let's go ahead and look at the new top 25 rankings. And this is where some of you guys are going to be a bit salty. So let's go ahead and look at this. First off, before I make this disclaimer, I'm going to say that these rankings, you're going to see that some guys fell off hard. Realistically, this wouldn't happen this bad, but because we are limited to just 32 teams, I have to go off of record first and then the best team in that order. So every team that has lost is under the rank of 16, because every team above have won. When they start to win, then and those records start to fluctuate more, then you'll start to see the rankings start to form. And so right now, I know it looks a little crazy on how crazy everything shifted, but of course those will start to really get better and align more so to see who the better teams are when the season goes on from there. But of course, had to start with put all the teams that won and the ranking order first. So let's go ahead and get a look at this top 25 list. First, of course, Georgia after that win over Clemson. And so Georgia, the number 1 team. At number 2, LSU moving up after their win over Miami, going up a spot to number 2 there from 3. Ohio State moved up a spot as well to 3. Alabama from 5 to 4. Baylor moved up from 6 to 5. UCLA from 10 to 6. Auburn moved up. I believe they were 11 to 7 here. And Michigan moving up here at 8. At 9, got Notre Dame. West Virginia moving all the way from number 25 up to number 10. Penn State to 11. Wisconsin moving up 8 spots to 12 from 20. Michigan State moving up to 13. Oklahoma State wasn't even ranked, moving up to 14th. Then you had Texas A&M and playing, like we said, one of the worst games this past week. But they were able to get the top, and I still put Washington State as the lowest ranked winning team who won this week, because I still want to see what they could do. Game that they did, they got that victory over Florida, but, with the sliders and everything changed, and, with pretty much winning off of those pick sixes and big time plays like that, I'm wondering if they can really keep that up. So they are the last ranked winning team of the series at 16. Then we move on to the teams that lost this week. Top team at 17 got Clemson. Then Oklahoma following behind, who actually moved over Miami, in my opinion. I think that my Oklahoma was going to be, in my opinion, I feel like they may just be the more talented team. So a big reason on why I just moved them up there over Miami. Miami following behind them at 19. Washington at 20. Oregon 21. USC at 22. Ole Miss weren't ranked. They actually moved up from their loss, but I actually feel like Ole Miss is actually going to be a pretty
Yeah.
pretty good team due to how they played against I forgot who they played already.
Mhm.
Baylor, yes, and that was a pretty good team right there. So they actually got ranked for losing. Sounds crazy, but that's the way we pretty much have to go off of these rankings here. I can't put a team from the way that we run this from just imagine a team being like 0-3, but just because it's Clemson, you got a team like maybe trash in real life, like let's say Washington State, and they're 3-0. I'm not going to keep Clemson over Washington State at that point. It's not like they have a conference that they're playing in a variety of teams. So it has to go off a record first, then the best team afterwards. So Ole Miss there at 23. Texas almost falling off the top 25 after their tough loss, but still ranked over Florida at 25, who is just right now holding on. So with those rankings, I knew you guys going to be like, wow, this is crazy how this changed. And these are the rankings. But honestly, looking at these rankings from early on, these rankings right now really don't mean nothing until you hit about like week 6. Because week 6, that's when you're really going to see those good teams start to be ranked higher. So what it is you got to make sure, if you're on a team, you got to make sure that your team's rankings, your team is getting the most wins as possible. Because, if you don't got more wins than the team ahead of you, I don't care if they're not that good, then you can't be ranked above them. So that's just the way that these rankings have to work. So with that being said, what's your thoughts on this top 25 ranking here, Rob?
I told you, man, when you showed me, man, I think this is fair, man. I watched all the games, and I understand that a couple of teams slid all the way back to the back of the line, man. I get it. Miami, I see y'all out there, Miami, man. I get it, man. I understand. You guys only put up 13 points, man, against LSU. And a lot of teams scored a lot more points than you guys, man. So it happens, man. I don't think you guys are 19, man. I think you guys are definitely top 10. It's just gonna, it's gonna take a couple of weeks to blow out some guys. Push some haters around a little bit. You guys will be back up there. I do think that, I love Alabama, man. I think it's a stretch right now, man. At 4, but because they got the win and the way you're doing this, I get it. Why they're there. I also feel that Michigan State is kind of, I don't know. Wisconsin is like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So and I think I would swap out Alabama, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, right, if I had to do this, right? Because I'm perfectly fine with this right here. But I would take out Alabama, Wisconsin, and Michigan State, and I'd move them to the second half, and I would put Oklahoma State up there. I'd probably put Miami maybe a little bit closer, and Clemson. Ole Miss played really well too, man. You see, so but it's hard, guys, at this stage because it's only week 1. So we got to just see how it's gonna go. Other than that, man, I think that this is a solid top 25 ranking right here. I think that all these schools who jumped from the bottom up played well, and they won their games, and that's what we gotta say hats off to, man. So to week 2, man, on to week 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just looking at the just more logic into these rankings here. I mean,
Right.
you just look at the teams that won and you look at the teams that lost. Then you look at the order from there. So that's pretty much what goes into how the rankings is going to go. So you can see like Clemson, no team that lost. I see some people talking about moving them up. You can't move a team up past a team who didn't win in a limited 32 team league. You get what I'm saying? That's just not going to work.
You can't move Ole Miss up.
And Ole Miss, and I look at the teams. The reason why I put Ole Miss there, Ole Miss, I feel like they had a good showing. Do I feel they're better than USC, who lost to? No, I don't feel they're better than Oregon, who lost to Washington, Miami, Oklahoma, and Clemson. That's the logic behind the rankings here. I almost didn't want to put them above Texas, but after that spanking, man, I was just like, man, I have to see. Let me put them below right for now and just see what they do next week. But pretty much you got to try to stay up with your record to be able to compete, to show if you're the better team. If you could be the better team talent-wise, but if you don't have that record, for the way we run our top 25s, man, and the way we got to run our top 25s, you're not going to make it. At the end of the day, you still may play in a bowl game. We still do have the conferences out of these 32 teams. We only have 5 conferences in this 32 team league. So, you could be a team that's not even ranked and end up playing in a bowl game because there weren't that many teams from that conference, So I mean, looking at this doesn't really mean anything. Of course, we try to stick with the logic of you have to win at least 6 games to be in the bowl game and stuff like that. But yeah.
You are using you're using point differential too, though, right? Like how many points were scored? Does that come in?
Well, I take it into effect, but I look at the pretty much the team talent. I equate more than just that.
Okay.
It pretty much is a thought. I don't want to. It's not nothing really mathematical that I'm going to do with that, because some of these teams, are still good despite the loss. They may have got blown out. I still think that some teams are better than teams that won easy. And then you got to look at who they played. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some of these teams played teams that weren't ranked or weren't that good, talent-wise or overall-wise with the players, which I guess that's what Isaiah King was talking about. But with that, I can't rank a team that beat down a team they were supposed to over a team that lost, or won and struggled doing that, playing against a harder team. So that's why it's hard to really throw that into the mix. So that's pretty much how I go about making these rankings here. But like you said, honestly, I feel these are pretty fair, based off of record, of course, and talent. So that's pretty much where this list comes from.
It's only week 2, guys. It'll get better, trust me.
It is what it is.
Imagine
Do something about it.
Below top 25. Whoa.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's not over at all for those guys. I remember it was a one team, Michigan. They almost made a bowl game. They were like ranked 32 last year for the most part, the entire season, like halfway, and then they almost made it to a bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. So that these rankings really don't mean anything at all until like mid-season. So that's when you really want to go start looking at those. But there goes that top 25 ranking right there. We'll now get a look at the upcoming Week 2 schedule. So we start out tomorrow, 2 games at 6 p.m. Eastern. We kick off with your favorite teams going at it, Rob, man. So I know this is going to be a great one for you. We got number 4, Alabama, taking on number 11, Penn State, to kick off Week 2 of the action, followed by a game called by you, Michigan, taking on Notre Dame. Michigan ranked 8th, Notre Dame ranked 9th. So let's just go in order of each game like that on the days. Yep. So what's your thoughts for tomorrow's games? Who do you think's going to win? How what's your thoughts just on how they're breaking down these games here?
I'm gonna take Bama to spoil Penn State tomorrow at 6 p.m. and I'm gonna take Notre Dame at home versus Michigan. Man, I think that Notre Dame's gonna get the job done, but I do think that Bama's gonna spoil Penn State.
I agree with you there. I think the defense of Alabama is going to be able to really slow down Penn State. Way better than Oregon's defense did last week. They couldn't really hold Penn State too well. But we already talked about Alabama's defense. I think they're really going to be able to get things going and win that one on the road. As for the Notre Dame Michigan game, I'm with you too with Notre Dame. And sorry to Darius Hodge, but I really feel like y'all gonna have to come up big time, because Notre Dame's actually a pretty good team. And they got the home field advantage. So that's going to be a tough game to win. But I think, with their stacked backfield with Kyle Fenimore and, their gameplay on offense, I think they're going to be a pretty good team, a pretty hard team to beat, and they might win it.
Hey, can I just go for the rest of these? Can I just tell you exactly who I think is going to win in order?
Or
do you want to break them all down?
I guess we'll just go to each game, because we'll just.
I can automatically pick these.
Okay.
Who I think is gonna go, man.
So what we're going to do is, I guess, look, because I want to make the announcement of the game. I know they still see it, fine. But the game following this one, Mississippi State, Georgia. Let's do it like that. Like, who you got on that one?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Automatically, Georgia.
Okay.
Georgia at home.
All right. Well, you don't want to give an explanation while you say it, or
I was gonna say Kai Cash in Georgia, man. Get it done at home against Mississippi. That's what I got.
Probably not too much to have to go off. I get what you're saying here. So, my choice, I'm going to go with Georgia as well. Okay, Wisconsin versus Florida State.
This is going to be a toss-up here, but given how hot Wisconsin looked, although that was an early slider game for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They beat up on Utah. Yeah, Florida State didn't look impressive at all either this week after getting blown out. So I just have Wisconsin doing it again here and blowing out Florida State.
All right, I'm on there with you on that. I'm gonna just see if I agree or not.
Hmm.
Okay, next game: Michigan State, Iowa.
Michigan State all day, man. Iowa's just looking terrible. So I think that they're gonna lose this game here. I think Michigan State is going to prevail.
All right, Washington State, Nebraska. I
Got to give
got
me Washington State here, man.
yeah.
Washington State, obviously, in the first week, playing against Florida, who we thought Florida would be, a lot better than they were, and they balled out here. Nebraska, 30-0 at Harvard, man. I don't think I'm not sure that Nebraska's going to be able to do it this week, man. So I'm going to go ahead and take Washington State.
Yeah, I agree with you there on that one. Next game: Ole Miss, Oklahoma State.
I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes into the to overtime. I really can't call this game per se. Uh, some great ballers on both sides. Look out for that offensive Ole Miss, man. That team is just clicking on offense. OSU is looking pretty good as well. I'll just go ahead and lean in favor of the home team, OSU, by a margin of a field goal or overtime somehow, man. It's going to be wacky. If Ole Miss wins, this will go late into the fourth quarter until overtime.
Okay, I'll take Ole Miss in this one. I think they might be able to get it done there on the road. Utah hosting Minnesota. Who you got?
Oh man, let's throw this game out, man. I don't even want to see this game. Oh no, I'm not sure, man. Man, after getting blown out the first week, Minnesota not really showing me much here. This might be kind of a boring game, man. We'll see. Let's go Minnesota. Minnesota gets it done on the road, 21-14.
I'm actually going to try to go with Utah in this one. I think that
Okay.
first game was a fluke. I think Joseph Fontanez might be able to turn things around this week. So you're going to have to show me something, Joe, or you're going to embarrass me out here on this stream. So I'm taking Utah in that one. Texas A&M and Washington.
Um, I'm gonna go with JTA, man. I like the name. Let's go with JTA. I like I say these they see that these middle games right here, man. I'm not really too sure about these guys just yet. So I got to see some more from Texas A&M. Like I say, they had the worst game I thought last week, and so this week I want to see. I want to see what they, if they're who they're supposed to be here. So we'll see. But I'll go ahead and give it to Texas A&M here against Washington. And that's the only reason why. I'm just because of the quarterback. That's it.
I'm gonna definitely go Washington here. They got home field advantage, and I think they are the
Mm-hmm.
better team. To be honest, it's crazy that I got them ranked lower just thinking about this, but didn't have the rankings all the way in order from when I first started. So I honestly think Washington is going to come out with this one. I see Romanelli leading the Huskies to a dub here. Next we got Oklahoma hosting Tennessee.
Oh boy. Oh man, I
I'm
don't know,
taking
man.
Oklahoma all day, man.
Oklahoma, yeah, all right. Oklahoma, home field advantage. Oklahoma, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going with
How much did
Oklahoma.
Tennessee have last week? How many points they put up at home?
6. Oh, well, 9.
9. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oklahoma.
Next game. This is the prime time. Well, the final game for the premier game. Battle of Florida here. Florida and Miami. Who you got?
Miami, man. Miami needs to show me, man, that LSU loss was just because they were playing at LSU. The sliders are different now. Like I say, the sliders are more geared more toward. I think they're geared more toward balanced play, bigger plays,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to allow a good defense to flex and a bad defense to get destroyed. And so I think that Miami definitely has one of the top defenses, along with Baylor and Alabama. And so I look for Miami's defense to absolutely get it done. I think this is going to be big impact. A big impact day here for the defense of Miami. So I'm looking for Miami to get it done against Florida at home.
Big game right here. Auburn, Clemson.
Man, oh boy, Auburn with the blowout last week against Nebraska, though. Clemson showing me that they got what it takes. When I'm looking at how good Auburn looked and how good Clemson looked. This is just going to come down to the defense. I think this is going to definitely be the back and forth. I think Clemson's going to get it done at home. Clemson.
I agree. Oregon, Ohio State.
I think Oregon is going to come in here and smash Ohio State.
Oregon?
I don't know why.
What?
I don't know why, man. I don't know why I'm saying this, man. But I just got a feeling. I got a strong feeling, man, that Oregon is going to get it done on the road. I don't know why, man. I like OJ. I like not OJ, but what's his name? What's this guy's name, man?
It's OJ Owen Jack you're talking about, right? The quarterback.
It's OJ. Yeah. I like him, man. I think. Wait, what's the quarterback for Ohio State now?
Gavin Falk.
Yeah, Falk. Yeah. All right. So Falk, he got it done on the road. He's feeling himself. He's at home now. Got the little ranking on him, but I think that OJ. I think OJ is kind of one of those sleeper quarterbacks, man. I like what he did last week. I think he might have some vengeance coming in this week. We'll see. We'll see if he continues the hot hand.
I'm gonna definitely take the Buckeyes on that one. West Virginia, USC.
Oh, West Virginia all day blowout.
Yeah. I'll take West Virginia. I don't think it'll be too much of a blowout because once again, you know, in that game against Alabama, I was talking about, you know, USC's got a really good defense as well. So they could probably slow up those moon pies getting thrown out. So it might be a more contested game, but I'm going to go with West Virginia on this one. It's another big, well, it would have been big if they didn't get blown out, but it's still, I think it's going to be a pretty big game. LSU taking on Texas. I'm going LSU all day with this one.
Yeah, if Texas looks anything this week like they looked last week, it's gonna be another L this week here against LSU. LSU at home.
And the final game of the week, big time, prime time, Baylor and UCLA. Number 5 taking on number 6. What you got?
This is absolutely nuts, man. Like I don't if you miss these games this week, man, shame on you, man. Just like Baylor, you don't want to miss Baylor versus UCLA. That's all I'm gonna say about that. UCLA last week, hey, we're gonna see if they really are the 52 king out here, man. If they really put up 52 on teams at home. Because last week they put up 52 on Texas at home. Doesn't say much about Texas. Baylor put up 40-something points. They have a solid defense. They also gave up 30-something points, though. So that's going to be interesting to see if whether that defense is going to be able to stop UCLA. But these are two high-powered teams right here, man. Both of these teams think they should be in the top 3, I think. So I think that I don't even want to call this. I'm afraid, man. This is just going to come down to who came to play, man.
Gotta pick one, Rob.
What'd you say? I got to pick one.
Gotta pick one.
Man, offense wins games, defense wins championships. Baby, Baylor. Bad news. Bears going to take this one, man, by a small margin. That's what
I guess if you're using that as the case, I think that UCLA actually might win this one because, I mean, their defense was something serious too, as well as their offense. Both of these teams, I think that's going to be a shootout for sure. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the home team here. I think the Bruins win. So that's it for what we had to cover. We pretty much already went through our standout players and everything this week, so I'm going to just leave this graphic up for right now. Is there any player, I guess if you want to, is there any player that you want to talk about this week that really stood out? Or
all right, so again, hats off to Jacob McCall, Alabama, Tyler Moe, Baylor, John Bells, LSU, didn't speak on him, and Gavin Falk for Ohio State, and also Jorge Torres Aguilar, man. The standout players for me this week. There are plenty of players that were doing their thing, but those guys are standing out because they won on the road. The other three guys I want to give honorable mentions to are Leo Moon, man. Boy, oh boy. Leo Moon, great day. Baylor's defense, got to give him a shout out as well. Looking very, very flashy, a lot spicy, I guess you can say. Malcolm Love for Wisconsin, had to give him a hats off as well. Really liked the performance there. Just a standout player. No one thought that Wisconsin would do what they did, and so he gets that. And also the quiet assassin Christian Williams with 11 receptions in Auburn in that blowout that they had this week against Nebraska. So those are my guys that I got right there. There's a ton of other guys, man. The backs, Cody Carter, Sincere Brown doing a great job. Fenimore, obviously, but I can't name everybody obviously, man. As we go, I'll try to switch it up a little bit more, man. But those are the guys that really stuck out of my mind. Pavo, obviously, another one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna just stop right there.
A lot of big names right there, man. And that's going to do it for us here tonight in terms of our topics. We now leave it up to you guys in the chat. Feel free to ask questions, and we'll answer it as best as we can.
They're asking about 200-yard rusher for the week, and this is how I feel about the 200-yard rusher thing, guys. And this is just my own opinion, but I feel that like when you have a 200-yard rusher, okay, that's one thing. When he has like one big long run for half of the yardage right there, like I'm not gonna say that that's you can't count that, but I feel that there are backs that were like really grinding for 150 yards, 160 yards. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like there's a guy that had 173 yards that we didn't name, and I can't remember who it was, and he earned that. Like he didn't just break a 100-yard run. So, and that's just my own philosophy with running. Because you could say a guy had 115 yards on a day, and he had an awesome day, but he ran one long one for 75 yards. Okay, so that means what? He had 40 yards the rest of the game or whatever. You see, so I'm not gonna take anything away from Fenimore at all. You know what I mean? But it's just that I just look at it like, and I did say that earlier though, that he still had a good day. I said he had 140 yards on the ground, and I said that he had a long one for 98 yards, which gave him 200. So I did mention his name, but I'm not that kind of person that's just gonna be like, oh,
he's the best back in the series, right. Yeah.
Because when you look at Sincere Brown and these other guys,
oh my God, Hundo really donation, Darius Hodge, my God, say you got a bonus.
Yeah, the hell what Mitch thinks about the halfback. Shout out to Darius Hodge.
Let's ask Darius Hodge. What do you think, man? Should have had this guy on the podcast with this donation here.
Man. Right,
$100 in full effect. Jesus Christ. Let's get it. But yeah, in your case of the run, I do agree with you on that. But if they still had a great yard per carry average on top of that long touchdown run, then that's good. And if Kyle Fenimore did have that, but what I will say is, I still don't feel he still has to show me that he is the best back in this series. I don't think. For me, honestly, my opinion, looking at him, he's going to have to show more. I don't feel he's the best back in this series. My top two backs, you guys already know what I think. Is Marlon Marshall, Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Yeah, for Marlon Marshall and Cam Perkins, I think those are definitely the two top backs. You got other guys too as well.
Yeah, and he did it against Iowa, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm not gonna take it away from him, but it's not like he did that, against Baylor or somebody or whatever, So I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, man. But I'm not all the way impressed. I'm not sold. I think there was a lot of backs that really, really grinded for their yards this week. Who had one? Somebody had 173 and no big gains.
I can't think. The only guy I think had a high number like that, for the top of my head at least, that I remember is Marlon Marshall. I can't remember another back.
Yeah, because I thought I saw a 173, like a 165 or 166, and I saw a slew of 135s, 140s, and all that stuff. So.
Thomas Didymus did okay too.
Yeah,
he's the highest overall rated running back in the college series.
Yeah.
And he had a good game, so.
Right.
Yeah. So, any other questions? What we got here in the chat, man? Definitely went in on that running back.
No, I wasn't naming top performers, Steven. You misheard what I was saying. He asked me, who are my standout guys? And so I was giving my standout guys, not top performers. I never said the top performers. If that was the case, then Fenimore is a top performer of the league of the week, obviously. I never said he was a top performer.
I'd say the top performer this week was Leo Moon.
Leo Moon, exactly.
Yeah, top performer this week. I guess if we got to go in orders, I'll say Moon at quarterback, running back, giving that to Fenimore, of course.
Yeah.
Receiver, might go with Pavo. Pavo would have been a guy there. I'm not going to go to tight ends. Defense, I'm not going to lie. I'm an offensive guy, so I really didn't key in on exactly who was making all the plays on defense, but I know for a fact there's a lot of good defensive lineman play this year, a lot of sacks this week, a lot of sacks, big time play on the line. So I think linebackers did good too. Of course, you already talked about Baylor's second level. So yeah.
And what about this receiver, man? Christian Williams, 11 receptions.
Oh yeah, he did pretty good. Once again, no, that's Nebraska. But we'll have to see when these weeks go on. And those guys who were saying like, oh, that's Nebraska, and you're on Nebraska, y'all gonna have to show me something in these games, man. Because there's some teams, guys. Right. We did say, there's some people saying there's no bad teams in here, but I wouldn't say they're bad teams, but when you stack up against a powerhouse like like we see like Georgia, Clemson, other powerhouses out there, man, I think that's a different story. You go from looking like a good team one week to looking like, man, we were never good, so yeah, that's just how it goes.
How do I feel about Nebraska's -1 rushing yard for the game, though? How do you feel about their -1? Well, how does the chat feel about -1 rushing yard for the game? What kind of question is that?
-1 rushing yard.
Yeah, that's what
that tells me that Nebraska's got to get their blocking game up. That's terrible. Yeah, that is crazy. I was so focused on watching Auburn getting punched on. Now that complete opposite of what I just said. Watching Nebraska get punched on by Auburn, I wasn't even paying attention to how bad, they were actually smacking. I was about to say Notre Dame, smacking Nebraska. So I mean, that was just crazy. That was a beatdown.
Right.
The -1 rushing yards. That's a guy who did the statistical stuff this week on terms of getting their stats and everything. Coach Forbes there pulling out that one, man. That's bad. I think they should feel terrible about that.
It shouldn't have even been mentioned on the podcast. It was terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So that tells me that everyone who didn't play Nebraska had more rushing yards than he. I know, right? Wow. Oh man, that's a great way to put it. I
literally walked more yards than he had today.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
I have more yards in like this second than he had then. I'm sitting down, stationary.
I went to the bathroom before the podcast and had more yards than he had in the entire game.
Yeah, he got punched on. Anything else? Oh yeah, another thing is we have Coach Baker and Coach Carter. They said they're going to start getting together, running podcasts and stuff together on other days, so that way you guys can get their opinions and their breakdowns on other more so individual players, like more in depth than what we have the time to cover. So look out for their podcasts. Told me to mention that. And then I know Coach Forbes sent me was talking about the stats and everything, and he sent me. I'm gonna have to get with you for next week, Coach Forbes, to make sure that I bring up all the statistics and everything that you gather. Man, great job this week gathering all that, man. You and Coach Dunn, everyone who's helping out right now with the college series, you guys doing a great job. Honestly, I probably didn't even think about some of the stuff you guys were planning on providing here. So big shout out to you guys, man. You think the QB awareness will be better? I think so off the sliders, yeah.
This is a good question from Chrome. Says, which teams do you think needs the most improvement going into week 2? And that's a very good question, but I think I want to save that one, man, because like I said, the sliders had gotten switched up.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna once we see everything this week and see what goes on, we're definitely gonna know who's who and what's what. I think some teams may have been hurt by the initial slider, so we'll see how it goes. But that's a very good question, man. Maybe ask that question again next week.
And another thing is, these sliders, even though they're looking great, I'm still tuning these because I had to tune down the defense because you saw how defensive the games were, guys, and you guys didn't want to see that. That was pretty bad. So we finally got the game to play college like, but I saw from a couple games defensive backs that should not be getting beat on routes so easy and with separation. I'm working on pretty much the reaction from how fast the defensive backs can close in with good ratings on a receiver, so that can be somewhat contestant. So that way, these defensive backs aren't getting exposed when they shouldn't, who are trying to make it into the RFL. So, I mean, definitely trying to help out the defensive guys there. If I put it to default, then it's going back to everything getting shut down. Nobody's going to be able to throw the ball. So I have to really, I know it's a tune somewhere in between like 42 and 50 somewhere. I got to test that out with multiple games. But, I would say like week 3, then you can really look forward to like knowing how these teams look. And then after that, we never know what happens. One of these guys drop the mod for 21, if that somehow happens, then it's all changed up for real. And I think we'll get better gameplay anyway from that. So, yeah. And I see Gamer Alert asking, how do you join the college series next season? The way you join the college series next season is you go to our website at relocationfootballleague.com. And let me see if I got the little graphic thing for this here. So there you go. See, Beasley just made that for me. Look at that. I got to send this your way, Rob. You see that? Got our social media accounts. So pretty much that shows our website. It shows our social media account handles, Instagram. We got Facebook, Twitter, all that. So, but yeah, go to our website, relocationfootballleague.com, and apply for a player there. It is a one-time fee of $5. You do not have to pay that monthly. I don't know why guys get confused and think that they got to pay $5 every month just to have a player in the league. Just got to pay it once and you're good. You're ready to go. So, but you can't do it right now. You can only apply when applications reopen, and they don't reopen until January 1st of next year. So it's a little bit of a wait.
Chris Williams says, what are the criteria for prospects' awareness attribute changes when being drafted into the RFL? Well, first you got to play this college series, and we got to make sure you're intelligent.
Yeah, got to make plays, and not only that. I mean, let's be honest. This is college football. This college series, for one, is going to have more explosive plays for the most part than last year's, because we really were working on, like, we kind of got late on the ball with the slide. We did a lot with the sliders and everything, and we kind of were further behind with that series starting out than this series, and things started picking up towards the second half or way late towards the end of the season. So I'm going to be honest, and I've said this on podcasts and stuff before. You saw the draft from last year, definitely a dip off from what previous drafts used to be in terms of overall. But even this class with these players, they're going to be lower than what they were also. So you guys really are going to have to show out in order to be on a level like that. The main reason that most of those guys even got those ratings is because they came in as storyline players. So with that not being backed up behind you guys, even though some of you guys may be creating your own stories, that was like a big time story uniqueness. So, that's going to be, you're going to really have to ball out in the college series to come in a good overall, but you should still be a decent overall. I found out one thing I will say is I did realize a better way to make you guys still be more like how you were, to have a similar skill set to how you were in college, going into the pros, but still be, not OP coming into the league. So I figured out how to do that. Pretty much is, I think I was boosting guys' awareness a little bit too high for rookies coming in. And that was the issue on why some of these overalls were a little bit higher even this past season, coming in when they shouldn't have been that high, but they could still be effective if they were good players. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot that I'm working on. But don't be discouraged if you get drafted next year. You see you're not a high overall. It's going to be hard because, for one, you're playing on arcade here. You're playing like college. When you get to the pros, it's going to be different. That's how it is, real life. So, yeah, that's just how it goes.
Keone Jones strapping you. It don't matter what you do against Nebraska. All right. Look, Brandon Fecky is asking, isn't there a way you can pay to make you better? No, that question was answered by Didymus. Thank you, Didymus. College players cannot progress their player at all. We do progress the players by ourselves, by only a small group of guys and how they perform the first 6 weeks. When you get to the RFL, there are perks for players. You pay $5 a month and you get a certain attribute points, but we have a rule of 87 where certain things can be upped and you can't go higher than 87 overall. So we do have a curve on that, so that we don't. This is not a pay for win type of thing, but we understand that some people do want to progress their player. And then someone just asked, how do you get into the Discord? There's two ways. I just put a link in the chat there for the Patreon. Once we get everything going, we'll start adding guys to the RFL fan Discord. You just need to be paying $2 a month to enter the fan Discord. And the other way you get into the main Discord, where all our players and coaches are, is to become a member. So you have to get a player in January and start your journey for $5. And then once you do that, you'll have access to our exclusive Discord, which is just for our players and staff and stuff like that. But if you just want to be in the RFL Discord, the fan zone, we're going to be having everybody over there too, and we're making that open for the public, and that's just $2 per month, man. So yeah, go ahead and do that if you want to figure it out.
Yes, sir. That's how you get involved in the league, man. The biggest thing, man, you really want to make an impact and have much fun in this league, man. Just be active. That goes a long way for us. It helps you out even when you get drafted, when you're in the series. Not going to say it's a significant boost, but it's definitely, well, I guess it is, because even though you may not see it as a significant boost when you come in, because you won't have the highest overall, what you were before when you weren't active was way worse. Just believe that. So, activity goes a long way in the RFL. Try to be as active as you can. Try to show up to as many games as you can. Try to post and share the RFL as much as you can. If we see you doing that, I would make sure, to do the best I can for your player based off of how he performed as well, to make sure that you have a good shot at playing someday in the league.
And no shade, man. I mean, I really like when guys show up to their own games and everything. That's cool. But like, and he just put this up on, like, if you really want to show love to the RFL, man, you need to come to like all our games, man. Like, come pop into our games, talk with people, get yourself out there, become an RFL backer. Donate or something, whatever it is you want to donate. We got guys, man, who are really pushing the bar. I was just talking to CP25 about this, man. Like, what we're looking for in the RFL is next level, man. Like, we're not saying we're tired of people who don't do anything, but we're just like looking for people who are unique, man. People who really believe in the vision that we see. People who want to take their characters to the next level. People who want to create social media for their characters and push the envelope for the RFL and help us, man, get this thing out here, because this is like a really cool thing we got going on here, and we're only as strong as the members actually believe in that, and so if we can get, it'd be nice, man, if we could get everybody to always show up to all the games and have easily 250 people in the chat, and help our algorithm and stuff, but we can't, because we're not, because everybody's not invested, so I tell guys, man, show up to the games, man, as many as you can, talk to people, don't assume things about people, man. You know what I mean? Like, you may have heard something or whatever, or think this guy's this way. Like, just communicate with people, man, and carve your own niche, man, in the RFL here. And I'm telling you, man, you will go so much further than if you just like, oh, you just showed up in the Discord, you changed your name, and oh yeah, you co-sign a couple of guys here and there, and you show up to your game, you know what I mean? Like,
and even towards that sense, man, if you're one of those guys, best believe I've peeped you, man. I've been doing everything I can to kick you out. So I look for guys who are in the Discord who aren't active. That's my duty, to kick dudes out of there. If you ain't doing what you need to do, then or really participating, there's no point of having you there. So we want the most dedicated guys here. Now I gotta give a shout out to the RFL community anyway, because the RFL community have definitely been showing up in record numbers in regular season games for this college series, man. I can only imagine what the RFL season for season 6 is going to be like. This college series, though, man, you guys definitely took us, have been supporting us and taking this league to the neit's level. Let's continue to grow, man, because we are really catching fire. YouTube's starting to really push us now. Let's continue to keep that up. But yeah, man, you guys can really take this league as far as it needs to go, and it's where we want it to go, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Man, I be getting jealous, man. I look at YouTubers and I see them with these plaques in the back, man. I'm like, man, this guy whack, man. Give my man Smitty a plaque, man. I give my man Smitty a platinum plaque, man. I see these guys with the platinum YouTube on the wall, and I'm like, this guy's a cornball, man. Let me get my boy Smitty a plaque, man. We gotta get 100,000 guys. I just get a little
And that,
Brooklyn
and
kid.
and that's not hard, man. I definitely see it coming, and we already know it takes time. It takes time, man.
Right.
We have a very unique. This is the most unique Madden channel out there. There's no other channel that, especially with us, it's just we don't have to change things up. YouTubers are out there who play Madden trying to figure out what they got to do for their next Madden video and things like that. Ours just develop. Like we can do this forever and it'll be different every single time. And, this is pretty much the virtual NFL, my guy. So, it will definitely get there. The only thing we're missing is just, just got to keep going and wait for YouTube to really push us and put us in more suggested. And we're just waiting on YouTube up to this point. Just continue to support. And, once we blow up, man, you're going to be that guy, be like, yeah, I was there before this thing really took off, man. And that's going to be an awesome feeling.
And I just kid, guys, because I'm not gonna sit here and act like someone else's hard work is not hard work, man. I'm pretty sure those guys with plaques on their walls have hard work, but I just know that the amount of work, man, that the commissioner has put in. I know myself, Bill, others, the league office guys, everybody around us, man, coaches, players, even you guys, man. I'm seeing we put in a lot of work, man, and
Definitely.
so we're just trying to we just want to get there as soon as possible, man. That's all I'm saying.
And even on top of that, I'm gonna just tell this right now, like even for me, how much I put into this is I didn't go to sleep yesterday at all.
Right.
I haven't been asleep, so I've literally been up since what, the 8th, 7th. Been up like 2 days. Didn't go to sleep yet. I literally almost felt like I was not going to be able to do this podcast today. But as soon as I started up with the I didn't wait until way late because I wanted to go to sleep so bad. But I just couldn't do it. I had to do work. I still couldn't even get all of the graphics that I really wanted to do and the main topics I wanted to cover in here because of my crunch for time, because I do a lot of other things too. But yeah, man, I just love this league that much, and it's a big reason why I kept strong with it. I remember when I first started this league up, man, commentating, my whole crowd, my audience and chat empty, nobody, but I still sat there commentating like I had 1 million people in the room watching me live. So like, for anybody starting up a YouTube channel, anybody who wants to do something, you got to understand, you got to take pride in the hard times. And I know a lot of people say this, when these celebrities give you, this advice and you be, oh, that's so cliche. It's the same thing. Everybody says the same thing. They're telling you the truth. It takes time. It's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of times where it looks like nothing is working at all. But if you just keep doing it, if you just continue to show consistency, watch where it goes. I honestly, I believe that this league is going to get to where it is. So, I mean, it's not too shocking to me, but I still remember those times where I was just like, man, should I continue to keep doing this? Because, I'm not really going nowhere, but I believed in it and it kept pushing. Look where it's at.
Just last year, bro, 2019, you remember in the beginning, man, and it was like 10 to 13 people showing up to the stream, bro, and I would get out there, got on, called the game, I'm sweating, and I done called the game with my heart out, bro, and I was like frustrated, bro. I was like, Smitty, man, I'm out here doing everything, all the overlays, the the pregame show and everything, and only 13 of these jokers showed up, and I was so mad, bro. And then you was just like, yo, I'm telling you, Rob, it's just hard work and consistency and every day, bro, just doing it, you know what I mean? And now, man, look at us, man, you know what I mean? And this is not even nowhere, but it's like I can literally see the difference between last January or February of last year, 2019, and where we are right now, September 9th, man. Like total 360.
Big time.
You know what I mean? Like huge.
Big time.
And it's not even that big, but I mean, wow, that's all I can say, man.
And that's just like I said, this is not just a lesson for like league endeavors or whatever you guys want to do. This is for anything, man. Like I said, for anything you want to do, man. Just know that you're not going to have a support system when you first start off. That's why when people come to me and they ask me, what do you do for your league? What do you do for your league? I'm not going to tell you what I did for my league because I'm not going to shout. I'm not going to shout you out. I'm not going to shout your league out. I'm not going to do that because I want you to actually grind and get and have that feeling that you built this. You get what I'm saying? Like if I gave you all the blueprint and the tools to do what I do, you know, for one, most people probably wouldn't follow because they'll know where you got it from. And that's the main message I try to tell people. They already know if you try a sim league like this with Madden, reload teams, you know, everyone knows where you got it from. So pretty much starting a league like ours not going to work for you. But you know, just if you did get those followers, they're not genuine. You know what I'm saying? Every follower that follows the RFL, they're genuine. You know, they actually love watching the content. They're here because they want to be here. You know, if you just had the people just come there and give you a little shout out, yeah, they'll be there today, the day that we give you the shout out. But the day after the shout out, you know, they forgot about you. You know, they're moving on. They're looking for another channel, and you did not grind to get that. You know, you have dudes out here who fraud about their views and all this other stuff all the time. You know, yeah, I got 100K subscribers, but you know, you're still getting like 100 views. You know what I'm saying? And low numbers and stuff like that, just because it's not genuine. You didn't work hard for that. So that's the big thing that I try to tell anybody who tries to come to me about that stuff. You got to build up your own business. You know what I'm saying? You got to see what it feels like to start from the bottom when there's nobody there for you and building up your own from the beginning, man. I remember to this day, some of the OGs still here that, you know, were one of the first people to come in the stream, and they've been here since. And you know, big shout out to those guys, but they're a testament. You know, even way back then, season 2. I remember season 2, man. Justin showed up. I think season 2 or at the end of season 2 in the playoffs, going into season 3. Been here ever since. He's a head coach and everything. You know, it was a grind to get here. You know, and you guys got to start doing that if you really want to take something serious. That's for anything in life. A job, work hard to get that job. You know, there's no way around it. What you say?
Was Ethan the same time?
Yeah, Ethan, Ethan, he might have been earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because I recognize that today, man. I'm not to go all off subject, but like, man, when he was talking about he was leaving today, man, you know what I mean? I'm gonna tell you, man. I was like, nah, man. Something ain't sit right with me about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was like, no, because this is an old head, OG. He's been here for a minute, you know, and I know he cares about his team, man. You know what I mean? So, like, those kind of guys, man, definitely got to keep them around, man. You know?
Yeah.
Real talk, man.
And so, just a little bit of preaching going on, as you see Nate Sean saying it, man. Gotta lay down the real out there, man. Don't cheat to get ahead. You know, just grind, do the work, face anything head on. Don't cheat it. Don't try to get around it, because once you beat that, there's nothing that can stop you. You just continue to have that wall running through. Continue to run through those walls, man. Because once you run through enough walls, ain't gonna be too many standing. It's not gonna be nothing to hold you back. Nothing's gonna want to stand in your way. I'm trying to tell you. So keep going through adversity, no matter what you're in. And I know this is a video game channel, yeah, but you know, life lessons come from anything.
Flex.
So so I think that's it here for today. I had put up the top 25 rankings once again. I'll be posting these on the social media so you guys can see it. But with that being said, we're about to go ahead and hop off of here. Appreciate everyone who showed up. Big shout out once again for the $100 donation from Darius Hodge, man.
$4 too, man. Appreciate that too.
Yeah, and big shout out to everyone who donated today. The other I seen somebody put the $4 out there too. Didn't get to catch the name, but big shout out to everyone who donated. Even Thomas Dennis even throwing the dub in there. My God. And shout out to Coach Carter again for yesterday for his $50 donation. I ain't forget that either, man. This is definitely, you know, for one, guys who know my situation. I'm not trying to get. I'm still going on the story. I know, but yeah, like, you know, this, I could be working a job right now, but I'm not, because I believe in this product. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I graduated from college. I should be in a psychology job right now, but this is my job. This is what I've been working on. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just to see that guys believe in, you know, what I've been building, you know, that means a lot to me. And I still don't even use this money for nothing else, but to put back towards the league. And that's what you got to do. When you get it, got to put back in until you get to the top. Last slice, little Jim handing off right there. But yeah, let me get out of here, man, before we go into a whole motivational speech session. But appreciate you guys coming through, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the games. Once again, let's get a look at the schedule. 2 games: Alabama, Penn State, and then Michigan versus Notre Dame. See you guys then.